From an undisclosed locations for reasons of security and insecurity, we present to you tonight MnRTV Live Show. And on tonight, on December 9th, we're going to have special guest Chase Kloetzke, Mufon and Dulce Base Nightmare Hall. Who is Chase Kloetzke? She was a ufologist, author, radio talk show host, investigator, researcher of UFOs, paranormal activities, and strange features and conspiracies. But before we get to that, let me introduce to you the one and the only, the man you've been waiting for, the man with the hour, the man with the power, the man with the coffee, Mario the Madman. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Yeah, am I ever glad? Am I ever glad to be back? Because a lot of things have happened and you do not want to miss it. And I want to share it with you because sharing is nice. Taking is nice also. But anyhow, we're going to be talking about so much today, so much to talk about, so much to do, right? As usual.
Exactly. And are you excited to get our special guest, Chase Kloetzke, tonight, talking about Mufon and Dulce Base, and she's on the star team of Mufon.
Rob, whoever guest comes on, or when it's even you and I doing the show,
Get excited.
Always excitable. It's always. But I think we should start, right?
Yeah.
All right.
This show's been brought to you by the Montreal Anti-Illuminati Task Force.
All right. So now, before I begin, we got to do what the usual thing, because there's always new people that pop up and they always want to know, because it's important for them to know. That's why we're doing this, for them to know, because we know, but we got to share what we know.
We got to teach what we know, because in a way we're teaching, we're researchers.
Yes, we research very deep down and dirty.
Right.
All right, so now let us begin. So this is it. This is our blog, the MnR Productions, Mariolaur.blogspot.ca. This, of course, appears under every show that we've done in the past, right?
Right, yes, it does. And we've got right here the blog right there. And then as we go down, we're going to have, you could just refresh, and we could share a show live.
That's if you can't see this, of course. That's if you can't see this.
Exactly, just refresh. And then we have the Chatango MnR Hangout Chatango room, where you can all speak your mind and ask questions and
interact with us.
Please do. We love interaction, right?
Yes, it's very important. That's what gets our blood spinning.
Yes.
And going. So shall we commence with the pictures of the week?
Yes. All right. If the U.S. government created ISIS and ISIS is going to attack the U.S., does that mean the U.S. government is going to attack us? Duh. It's all a psyop, folks. All of this ISIS, all of it, it's baloney, man. It's all created to cause fear and everything. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but they created a monster and now they've got to live with the monster. They're like Frankenstein.
Yeah, but you see, this is what I've always been saying all along. The government created ISIS. We've been saying that all along.
Of course, yeah, CIA created.
All these pictures appear on the Conspiracy Talk, Google Plus, and Facebook. Yeah, so the government created it, and now we know what mess we're in, all of us.
Exactly, because ISIS, that's what it is. Now, speaking of government, Google knows everything about you. Includes phones, call logs, emails, locations, personal information, websites, YouTube videos, what device you're using, anything you type into search engine, what time, your IP address, it's all recorded and stored in their database. So Mr. Google right there knows exactly what we're doing.
He's probably watching our show right now.
Enjoying our show. Enjoy it, Mr. Google.
Yeah, we like Google because if Google, there would be no show.
Pleasant chap anyhow, but you know, he looks like someone you don't want to hang out with, but maybe he's having a bad day.
You know what? We are hanging out with him indirectly, directly with these phones. So we've all next. Speaking of phones,
why is it I can barely get service in my own house, but ISIS can upload videos from desert caves in the middle of nowhere? They don't go in the desert caves.
You know why? Also because the CIA gives them the communication. That's why they're doing. That's why. And like you say, they don't live in caves. They say they live in caves, but I don't believe it that they live in caves. Because everything's a big lie. So we've on next.
Okay. Right there. Who backs ISIS and how? We've got Saudi Arabia written there. We've got Turkey. We've got Qatar. We've got Israel. We've got UK and France and the USA. That's basically a lot of countries right there.
Now, we're not going to read it to you, but a tip of advice for you, pause the show and you could read it and see for yourself. But this is what we find. This is what we find on the web. So we're just posting. We're showing what we find, right?
Exactly. Oh, for sure, for sure. Okay, next one right here. Western governments do attack their own people and why? False flag attacks, strategy of tension, and psyops. I never find this on mainstream TV, the truth or anything like that, or radio or anything, but only an alternative and online.
Yeah, because who owns the mainstream? Don't say it. Let the people do the research.
Exactly.
Oh. So we've on next.
Okay, this was published in 1991. Now mass shootings are a common occurrence and gun control is being pushed by the media. Oh yeah, this is they have plans of 20 years ago that about 20 years ago, 20 to almost 30 years ago, what they planned is actually coming out true now because they have years of planning, and everything that they do is not good.
And this was written in William Cooper's book, Chapter 12 of The Secret Government. If people want, get your hands on it, read it, see it for yourselves.
Exactly.
So we've on next. Quote of the day.
If you want to understand any problem in America, you need to focus on who profits from the problem, not who suffers from the problem. Yeah, there's always a profit, and it's the profits. They're the ones who always make money off of it. They're the ones who are behind it all.
The corporations and big pharma are dictating to the doctors what to do. Kind of like a mob, kind of like ISIS. So we've on next.
A speaker of truth has no friends. That's true. We probably lost more friends than we gained, that's for sure.
Yeah, on Facebook. Yeah, on Facebook. You know how many people unfriended me because they just can't take the truth. It just bothers them. But it's so bad.
I like to call it Facebook because it's a phase. People are in a phase.
Yeah, but it's a phase that lasted quite a long time. Over 10 years.
Well, it's getting worse. It used to be fun at first. I don't always wear my Freemason hat, but when I do, it's for an interview during a false flag hoax.
What more do you want? The picture says a million words.
San Bernardino.
So we've on next.
Mass shootings under each president, and there's Reagan, Bush Senior, Clinton, Bush Jr., Obama. According to the FBI, a mass shooting is defined as 4 or more people are killed, and look how many.
But look under Obama.
There's 162 compared to Reagan who had 11.
So
it just gets worse and worse. Even Bush Jr. only had 16.
Wake up, America. Not the truthers watching our show, but the sheeples. They have to wake up. Now, speaking of losing friends, man, did you ever do a lot of damage with this one?
Boy, did I ever do a lot of damage with this one when I put up in the conspiracy talk on Facebook. Yoga is satanic. All forms of yoga seek to raise the serpent energy from the base chakra to the crown chakra to achieve God consciousness. I'm not going to read the rest, but people in the chat room, what do you guys think of yoga? Because my God, when I released that, oh gosh, there was ever controversy. I even got threatened. Someone from the States wanted me, from Florida wanted me to meet him, and he was going to break my teeth in. And I just called him, I just said he's a big mouth, and I just deleted everything because that's the way to do it, no?
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, why are people defending Satan so much? He doesn't deserve to be defended. Like, he's going to defend you, people. Wake the hell up.
It's not God. He's not going to defend you. He's going to make it worse. He's going to be laughing.
Yeah, well, he's the accuser. He's going to sit there and accuse all the people that are actually on his side right now. That's what's wrong with this. And another thing, I'm not against, I want to make something clear. I'm not against the stretching part. There's nothing wrong with the stretching,
Oh,
right? But I'm
right.
against the meditating part. Who the hell are you meditating to? That's my question.
It's probably the same thing when I used to do Reiki 2 years ago.
And you know how that
My
turned
healing
out,
powers.
thanks to what's his name, Russ Dizdar, who opened up your eyes and a lot of people's eyes, but people don't want to believe it. Even if you show it to people, they don't want to believe it.
I know.
I don't get people. I'm a sheeple. I don't get them. Honestly, I just do not get them. But that's why we have to be shepherds and guide them in the right direction. Suivant, next.
There's another shooting. Fire up the gun control propaganda.
Because that's what it's all
Exactly.
about.
Telling Joe Biden to get ready.
Suivant, next. Speaking of gun control, look at this.
Big pimpin'. Donald Trump's grandfather was a German immigrant to the USA. He was a pimp and a drug dealer, making a fortune running brothels and opium dens. When police cracked down on his criminal rackets, he escaped to Germany only to be deported as a bail draft dodger and tax fraud. He returned to the USA working as a barber queen. He invested his ill-gated gains in real estate. This is the origin of the Trump fortune. You heard about Donald Trump, who today said about closing the internet, that he's going to talk to Bill Gates to talk about closing the internet.
You know what? He's just mouthing off. I don't believe it.
No, but I saw the video, though. He did say it, but he's just a big mouth. Donald Dump. All right, speaking of which, I'll be taking that. Two serial terrorists and guns to Mexico drug cartels.
That's Obama taking it from the people to get Syria, Al Qaeda, and gun cartels, drug cartels, and all that. That's what's going in directly on.
False flag operation. Yeah, it's me calling again. They're shooting in San Bernardino.
With the famous lady. What's her name, this lady?
I don't know.
Maybe she's watching our show as we speak.
Maybe you can have a date with her.
Oh, yeah. Maybe then we'll know. Then, well, is that a good idea? I mean, then something bad might happen to me. Because she's always there. She's like...
Well, I was thinking, maybe she had a friend for me, no?
Yeah, but you know something? She's like the Grim Reaper. Wherever you see the Grim Reaper, there's death. Whenever you see her, there's terrorists.
Yeah, there's terrorist attacks, the false flag. Turkey is buying the oil from ISIS. Look, a mass shooting. That's what they're doing. While that's being doing, they're doing a mass shooting to get the people off that and thinking of the mass shooting. War is greed. War is greedy, old man. Sending naive young boys to kill innocent children. War's profit.
That's what's happening here. That is exactly what's happening. People need to open their eyes because that's what's happening. All right, so we've on next. This, I don't know if you noticed this picture. I just found it today.
No. Mark Ruffalo, who is the Incredible Hulk in the Avengers. The evil of Monsanto and GMOs explained. Bad tech, endless greed, and 19 amazing photos of worldwide protests before the UN climate meeting. Let's help our support baby rhinos orphaned by poaching. I like that, though.
But when I saw this, it's like, wow, this guy's my hero now. Doing this. No?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Italian
so now,
too. And he's Italian too.
Yeah, but what's happening? Is the Illuminati going to go after him?
I hope not. But you don't forget, he's the Incredible Hulk. He'll take care of the bloody Illuminati.
If only it would be that easy. Suivant, next. Now, you don't have to read this. My point to this is, you see these pictures, they were taken down from
Facebook. Media, yeah.
From Facebook, right? Now, yesterday someone accused me of stealing pictures off the web, off his what do you call it, page. I said, what do you mean I'm stealing you? I was like in shock. I was like, you're accusing me of stealing. First of all, Rob, when you put stuff on Facebook, right?
Right.
Who has access to those pictures? Who takes control of those pictures, you know?
Facebook.
Yes, yes, they don't belong to anybody but Facebook. Once you put up those pictures, like all those pictures of the week that you saw, Facebook has control of them, right?
Right. They could delete them if they want to.
So the guy was saying, why don't you take and share it from my page or my group? I said, you know what happens? Why you remember why I told you I do not like
When I share,
pasting what?
when I share them.
Yeah, you know why don't I like doing that? You know why?
Because then Facebook could take it down and there goes the link or the
Yeah,
picture.
exactly. And that's what happens multiple times. Now, if I shared a picture like I did with this one and I take the writing, what happens is they remove these pictures, but I'm like, they removed those pictures so I could put them back. But if they remove the link, you say to yourself, it says picture attachment not found, right? Then
Right.
you, where's this coming from? What has been removed? You understand what I'm saying? So these guys accused me of stealing pictures, but here I am. I'm not stealing pictures. It's like I don't get it. I don't get it. It's like I do my search, my research. Look here. Oops, not that. That's the news
Is
of
there anybody I know that's accusing you of this?
well, but just to tell you, look, you see the same picture doesn't appear on Facebook. The guy thinks I'm taking it off from him, which is funny. I'm not even on his I like group or I like or group or whatever. I'm not even on there. I do my deep research and I get them. You see, this one comes from Google Plus. It's not Facebook. This one comes from Google Plus. Google Plus. You see them on the bottom opening up.
Yeah, I do.
Twitter.
Twitter.
This one is Inc. 361. And this one comes from istingy.com. This guy said, if I don't remove his pictures, he's going to go and he's going to tell our past uh, guests that we've had on not to contribute with us anymore. It's like,
Who is this guy?
I don't want to say it, obviously, because you know what? He called me out. I'm not going to call him out because I'm a good guy. You know me. I don't like.
Does he watch our show?
Pardon?
Does he watch our show?
I don't know. I hope he watches our show for this because he's accusing me of taking all those pictures off his thing, and I'm not even on his.
Don't worry about it. It's probably a government paid troll or shill.
That's what I honestly think. And yesterday is like, what the hell, man? They're telling me. Then they tell me I'm seeing. First of all, you know what? If these pictures belong to him, right?
Right.
Look at how I did my picture. And he's claiming it takes a lot of work for him to do all those pictures he's done. But at least I put the conspiracy talk. And you know what? I honestly say to myself, people want to take this picture. I encourage people to take these pictures and to save them on their hard drives because you know what happens? If they take down the conspiracy talk, well, hey, you have pictures, you can do your research. But like this one, you see, I put the conspiracy talk. Why doesn't this guy brand his pictures? He's going to take a lot of time to put pictures together, whatever. I don't know if this belongs to him. I don't know what belongs to him anymore. But why doesn't he put his group name under here somewhere? Eh? But
I hope I'm not in this group.
no, I don't know. But well, again, that. But again, look at all this. We don't see who made these pictures. We don't know who made these pictures. You know what? If the guy is so concerned about making pictures, why and claiming that they're his, why doesn't he go and there's a website. What is it called? Getty Images, where they actually take the pixels and you claim it's yours and you pay for your picture so nobody could take them.
I doubt he made these pictures.
But the thing is, I'm not stealing here. I'm sharing. What is this, a contest? Like, because I know what it is. He wants me to share it that way, so like that his group gets more popular. But it's not about popular here. It's not about being popular. It's about sharing. Anyways, it just like angered me the whole last night. I was like saying, what the hell is the matter with these
I
people?
hope I don't know this person.
Anyways, even if you do know, what is it gonna do? You know?
I'm going to disassociate myself from this person.
I don't think you have. I don't think you're friends with them.
Good, good, good.
But
Because
it's like, what the hell, man? It's like I'm not doing anything bad. The guy made me feel like I'm doing a crime, you know?
it's just a government paid role. Don't forget the Illuminati sent their agents. He's an agent and he's just trying to cause trouble for you. Trying to stop you. That's all. Don't worry.
No, I'm not worried, all right.
No.
But this is the conspiracy talk, right?
Right, and there's our guest Chase Kloetzke coming on at 8:15 tonight.
And yeah, so if you just click on this link and in the future, and you will get to see the show. Like example, getting back to the accusation. Look, you see, this person put it from the government conspiracy disorder, right?
Yeah.
It's like if the government conspiracy disorder goes down, or the like page comes down, the page comes down, this will say attachment not there. Then you're going to say, where's the attachment coming from? And this is my picture, which belongs to me, but anybody can share, because I'm not going to stop anybody. The more people get out the information, the better it is. There's nothing to hide. It's not a popularity contest, people.
Right.
It's about getting the information out. So that's it. That's a conspiracy talk. Shall we commence?
Yeah.
All right. So now we're going to talk about San Bernardino.
San Bernardino false flag. Multiple witnesses. 3 white men shooting.
So did you see that? They claim that 3 white men in military.
Yes. Now the government narrative on San Bernardino shooting has been put into place by the corporate media. Previously, eyewitnesses reported contradicting the official storyline will be assigned to the memory hole. As the event unfolded last week, early reports indicated there were 3 people involved in the shooting. The hunt for one of the suspects was taking place near a San Bernardino center where as many as 20 people were shot Wednesday. You see these things, and then you have people fighting over pictures. That's Facebook for you. When there's real stuff to think about and worry about.
Yeah, but like, come on, don't tell me. It's like, honestly, it's like here we are. There's more serious things than fighting over your pictures. Brand the pictures, label them. Don't come out after me like that, or after anybody. Like, what the hell, man? That pissed me off so much. So anyhow, there's video here, and it's worth watching, and you'll see the witnesses actually saying about who they were, the 3 white men,
Yeah.
because everything's a lie. That's why. How they stiff us, right?
Yeah. Everything's a lie. Everything's a lie. Everything's a bloody lie. I'm starting to think even people aren't real anymore.
No, but sometimes you know what? It's like I say to myself, why the hell do I even have to put up with this? I don't need problems like this. Here I am. I'm trying my best to do what I can, and you have people accusing and trying to stop you.
Well, but that's all the time, though. It's just an operative. Sometimes they attack me. Sometimes they attack you. They come. They're always trying to do different strategies to shut us down.
All right, the next one.
The U.S. is preparing World War III against Russia, says journalist. U.S. Vice President Joe Biden's visit to Ukraine is a sign that the U.S. is preparing for World War III against Russia via escalating tensions with Ukraine, a political analyst and journalist has claimed. Investigative journalist and political analyst Joachim Hagopian says that Biden's visit to the Ukraine on Sunday.
I hate when that happens. Where's the little X? Yo. Anyhow, it looks like it won't let me go down.
You see?
Wait a minute.
The U.S. is visit on Sunday is an attempt to reassure the Kiev puppet
You know what? I think we might just go. Anyways, the point of this.
Yeah. The U.S. is preparing for war against Russia.
But I say it's rumors of war. That's what this is. So don't worry, people. Get your sleep. I wouldn't worry too much about it. Now I'm showing what's happening on the Chatango.
No, people are talking about Christmas and all of that. But yeah, let's go back. ISIS unveiling chilling new map of Europe as it plans for world domination by 2020. When I found this, I go, oh my gosh, I have to put this, because a terrifying map. Look at this map of ISIS that they have. This chilling map reveals the calculated way ISIS plans to take over the world by 2020. The terrorist group aims to control the Middle East, North Africa, and parts of Europe within the next 5 years, the new map shows. BBC reporter Andrew Hoskin is the author of the new book Empire of Fear. Inside the Islamic State, which includes the map drawn of areas ISIS plans to take over. The Caliphate is a state governed by Sharia law, covers areas from Spain to the western to the border of China in the east. But this is all part of how can I say this? It's all part of their plan to make the Muslims fight the Christians in World War III. It states this in the Protocols of Elders of Zion. And of course, they're going to be using ISIS to do this.
Because they're vicious.
Yeah, well, they created the monster, and the monster's grown even 10 times worse probably than Al Qaeda did.
But they're radical.
There's that flag, which I'm sick of seeing all the time.
You know, look at all those guns that were provided by the U.S. beautiful U.S. of A.
You know the flag of ISIS. I'm starting to think that that's going to be as bad as the Nazis, the Nazi symbol one day. You ever thought of that?
We'll see. We'll see. I wouldn't worry. You know what? It's not worth worrying. You know? Hey, Leland. Hey, Polly. Hey, Susie. Welcome to the show. Wherever else is watching around the world.
On this world, right there. Yeah, exactly.
You guys are the greatest. Hold on here. Let me just make it a little bit bigger. I don't know if you could see the writing, Robert. Now you can. Okay. This I found. This is, I don't know what to make of this. Ah, there goes the. Okay, yeah.
As Clinton becomes one of the world's most powerful players, his surprising Jewish connection is revealed. A man of many
globalist
may come to rule, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. Proverbs 18:24 from the Bible, folks.
Now, all you Bible haters out there, there you go. Yeah, he's a globalist. People don't understand. I mean, as much as I'll choose him over Obama any time, but he's still a globalist.
And a long history of Jews in Russia, the government has rarely been an ally and often been the source of persecution. Current Russian President Vladimir Putin, however, is a powerful exception, with Jews playing a significant role in his personal history and his inner circle. With the Russian army a major player in the potential explosive multinational puzzle unfolding in Syria, this personal element could become an important, perhaps decisive factor in how the conflict unfolds. At the International Assembly of Chabad Representatives in 2007, Russia's chief rabbi, Rabbi Beryl Lazar, often referred as Putin's rabbi, told remarkable stories of the Russian leader. When he was a young child, he grew up in a poor family. His family was always out at work. He was fortunate that the next door neighbor was a Hasidic Jew family, and they always made sure to invite him over, Lazar explained. They were extremely kind to him, and he realized that not only were they kind to a child that wasn't theirs, not only were they kind to a child that wasn't Jewish, but they were kind to a child in a time or place that was dangerous to do that. 30 years later, because of the gratitude he felt for that family and for the respect he felt for the Jewish people as a whole, as deputy mayor in the city of Leningrad, he granted official permission to open the first Jewish school in the city. The family in Lazar's story was of Antony Rakin, Putin's high school wrestling coach, a man he considered to be a father figure. And look, he's lighting up, what is that, the menorah?
Mm-hmm.
For the Jewish Hanukkah.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything.
No.
And you know what? All these links will appear in the description. So if anybody wants to check them out, you'll see. I mean, it's always good to keep a backup of all what we have on the show because we want to prove to people. And there they are. Look, the global list. Look at the global list. All globalists. They don't care about us. Care about
No,
their
yeah,
pockets.
the pop plotting something.
So that's it for that. I mean,
our planet. They always are.
What am I reading? What am I reading in the chat room? What's going on, people? Come on, here. Get with the program. Hold on, Rob. Don't read it. I want to just adjust date. Okay, now what's this show without talking about Fukushima?
Radioactive contamination of our shores. Fukushima cesium detected off U.S. West Coast. Scientists monitoring the spread of radiation in the ocean from the Fukushima nuclear accident report finding an increased number of sites off the U.S. West Coast showing signs of contamination from Fukushima. This includes the highest detected level to date from a sample collected about 1,600 miles west of San Francisco. The level of radioactive cesium isotopes of the sample is 11 barrels per cubic meter of seawater. So there's a lot of chemicals coming.
The point to this article, because you're not going to read it, we don't have all night. The point of this is that the radiation is still leaking from Japan and it's heading to the West Coast. Media will not talk about that. Why not? Because it doesn't want people to freak out over it. They rather people freak out over ice ages. See, that's where all the radiation is. You see, it says not detected, very low. The yellow is very low and the white is non-detected. So this goes to tell you something's up and they don't want to tell us, they don't want to fear us, but yeah, the water is turning bad.
Yeah, the water's turning bad, the bees are dying. This is good, folks.
Chemtrails are just going. Now there's something wait a second now. Wait a second. I hate when these things come and they tell us to click on this. Now people have worry know about cancer. There we go.
Rick Simpson healed 5,000 people from cancer. This is a recipe that kills all types of humans in 90 days.
Now there's a video that this man, there's a video that's been put out of this man, and there he's holding hemp oil, which he shows how it's done in the video. I mean,
and cannabis oil.
See, it can cure. Look at that.
That oil can capacity for treating diabetes, multiple sclerosis, asthma, epilepsy, atherosclerosis, and psoriasis. Wow.
And cancer also.
And cancer, but the thing is, Big Pharma doesn't want you. They want you to suffer. It's not like Big Pharma you pay. It's not like you pay them, and then they slowly they heal you. You suffer more and more and more, and then most of the time you die.
Well, Rob, it's not. It has nothing really to do with. Okay, yeah, they want to kill us off. That's true, but it has more to do with profit. If everybody does this, everybody takes this. Big Pharma is not going to be making profit, and that's what they say on this video. Like they're trying to stop the guy, and the guy is giving it away. It's not like he's making any profit, but they do not want to see people live. You know, and look, it tells you all the ingredients, how to do it, how to prepare it. It's not easy at all, eh? Like you first got to take not the leaves, but the flower of the cannabis. And then you put in a big barrel and you put water, you squeeze you squeeze it and then you boil it. It's quite long, but the videos here, I encourage everybody to look at it. It's good. It's like very informative. Here on the show, if there's anything we could do to help to make people better, if we discover it, we're here to share it. Well, some people say I steal, but I'm not stealing. I'm just sharing. I'm here to share, to put the word out, right?
Yes.
There we go. It's sad. It's real sad that it's come to this. Oh, and last but not least, we're going to be talking about
Open mind.
yes, open mind. Hold on. All right. There you go. Open mind.
Pennsylvania witness described UFO as the size of a football stadium.
Now remember, you were asking LA when you're going to see it, but people are witnessing it. I don't know why it's not coming here. Maybe we should go to Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania witnesses described UFO as size of football stadium. A Pennsylvania witness at Erie County called a 22-year-old encounter with an object the size of a football stadium that has affected his life to the present day, according to a testimony in case 72805 from the Mufon UFO network.
Yeah, Mufon. We're getting someone from Mufon, so stay tuned, people. Don't go anywhere.
The events played out beginning at about 8 p.m. on June 5th, 1993, to witness graduation night. Hey, that's quite a while back. When you think about it, the witness described that the night was quite impressive that night. A true sight to see, the witness stated. I remember scanning the night sky, thinking how this would be my last night home. I had walked to the end of the driveway. I was a delayed entry soldier that the very next day was going to boot camp. It is when I turned to look back towards the house that something stood out to me. The witness described the experience. The stars were gone, and in my view, and disappearing. Then came the lights. I estimated the light panels to have been 12 foot tall and 6 foot wide. This was a circular type craft, so the giant light panels were on the outside edge. They started in a clockwise motion, very slowly. Their colors they were giving off was mesmerizing and beautiful. The witness then began to focus on the bottom of the craft. Blinding lights had come on, but not as you would expect. The glow came from crevices and glowed on the bottom. What am I staring at? It's not metallic in nature. It is stone, rocks the size of a cargo container or a semi-tractor trailer. The entire circumference of the craft, I estimate to be the size of a football stadium. And it seemed as a upside-down pyramid.
So you see, there is stuff happening with it.
Exactly. Too bad there's no picture of this.
No. Well, you know what it is. I think people just freak out too much to want to take pictures. I know.
It's 1993, so we didn't have like cameras, like cell phone cameras that we have now.
But why is it only getting reported now?
Maybe the person, because sometimes they don't want to report sometimes all the time because they're embarrassed, they're ashamed, or they're worried they're going to be ridiculed.
Oh, she's calling. She's calling.
Oh, yes. All right. You better get Trish on. And when we come back, folks, do not go away. We're going to have our special guest, Chase Kloetzke. And
yes,
we'll talk about Mufon Dulce Base, Nightmare, and a whole lot more. And so don't you go away, folks. We'll be back as soon as this break is over.
And here she is. Here's Trish.
The Mutual UFO Network, MUFON, is an American-based non-profit organization that investigates cases of alleged UFO sightings. It is one of the oldest and largest civilian UFO investigative organizations in the United States. MUFON was originally established as the Midwest UFO Network in Quincy, Illinois on May 31, 1969 by Walter H. Andrus, Alan Uckey, John Schuessler, and others. One to most of MUFON's early members had earlier been associated with the Aerial Phenomena Research Organization, APRO. The organization now has more than 3,000 members worldwide. with the majority of its membership base situated in the continental United States. MUFON operates a worldwide network of regional directors, holds an annual international symposium, and publishes a monthly MUFO and UFO journal. The group now has more than 75 field investigators, as well as specialized teams to investigate possible physical evidence of any extraterrestrial craft. The network trains volunteers to be investigators and teaches them how to interview witnesses, perform research, and how to draw conclusions from the evidence. Although investigators are not paid, they must pass both an exam based on a 265-page manual and a background check. 3. The stated mission of MUFON is the study of UFOs for the benefit of humanity through investigations, research, and education. Along with the J. Allen Hynek Center for UFO Studies, CUFOS, and the Fund for UFO Research, FUFOR, MUFON is part of the UFO Research Coalition, a collaborative effort by the 3 main UFO investigative organizations in the U.S. whose goal is to share personnel and other research resources, and to fund and promote the scientific study of the UFO phenomenon. MUFON is currently headquartered in Newport Beach, California under the direction of Jan Harson. MUFON has a chapter in every American state.
Thank you very much, Trisha. You're the best. I'm always happy to have you on, right?
Oh, yeah, we are. Sure. We are for sure talking with Chase Kloetzke. And it's going to be a great show. He's was on the Star Mufon team. For you who says, what's Mufon? It's Mutual UFO Network. And we're going to have a lot of information to tell us, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, it's like, it's interesting to know what she has to say about this. I've always wanted to know what her take was on it.
Exactly. Right? We'll be finding out about Mufon and Dulce Base, which is one of my favorite things to investigate, isn't it?
Yeah, well, anything that's a secret really is interesting, no? Anything that people do not know about, or I don't know, I have an interest for that too. I want to know just what the hell the government is up to. We all deserve to know. There's nothing to hide, right? We're all in this together. We're all human beings. We all have to work with each other. That's how I see it. Is there anything wrong with how I think? People out there, what do you think? Is it bad what I think?
No.
Anybody?
I don't think it's bad.
Well, some people out there think I'm a bad person for doing bad things. I'm like a criminal.
Why? What did you do? Have you been arrested?
Because they're accusing me of taking stuff of theirs. Like, why would I take anything of theirs?
No, you wouldn't. That's for sure. No, not at all. I mean, what's put up on the internet? What's it? It belongs to nobody. If you put up a picture, we can't take ours.
But you know what I say. You know how many people take our even our videos, they take it apart. It's their thing. If people want to just get that, it's their thing, right?
Yeah.
Who are we to say what you can't do or what you could do? What we're like the government now all of a sudden?
That's the thing. I mean, you put this person blames you. You put up on Facebook, and when you put it on Facebook, it's for everybody to see. If you decide to put a picture up of yourself, it's everybody to see. You can't say, oh, it doesn't belong to. It belongs only to me. You put it somewhere in public, it's gonna go in the public. If you don't want it to go there, you don't put it in the first place. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, but the person just will not understand.
No, I guess not. I mean, it's really, how can I say this? It's ridiculous that they think like this, but let them. Don't worry about it.
Oh, I'm not going to lose sleep over it, obviously, but just to tell you that, what we go through is not normal.
No, but all right, I'm going to try and get our guest Chase Kloetzke to be talking about Mufon and Dulce Base. Are you ready? I'm going to get her up right about now.
I'm ready, Eddie.
All right.
You're thin.
All right. Let's get this show on the road, folks.
Yes, lots of questions, answers to be answered,
Yes.
questions to be answered. It's all about that. Asking questions. Feel free to ask.
Hi, Chase.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Welcome to the MnRTV Live Show.
It is so my pleasure to be with you, Robert.
That's wonderful. So, would you care to tell our audience who you are and what it is that you do?
Well, I am a ufologist first and foremost, but I have a tendency to every once in a while be drawn into other mysteries, such as the elongated skulls of Peru or Bigfoot. It's almost, if you don't know what it is, I'll go look. But, you know, my forte is really UFOs and UFO investigations. You know, I'm an author of 2 books and, you know, just boots on the ground. I like to be out there. You know, being on the phone isn't good enough. I like to go and look for these things myself.
Oh, that's wonderful. So how did you get started in this UFO business? Did you start by seeing something, or what got you interested?
Basically, it's a very mundane answer and not very exciting, but I really, you know, just read the book Chariots of the God as a teenager by Eric von Daniken, and it was so drawn into asking, you know, the tough questions, even with something as a Bible or a religious text. And it almost prompted permission for me to continue to do that, whether, you know, we're calling out the government or Department of the Navy, you know, whatever it is, to just ask the hard questions and to think outside the box. And that led very quickly to the UFO phenomenon, which I was quite intrigued with, because in my view, and I knew this very early on, you know, if we find out ghosts are real, that's awesome, and it changes a few things. And Bigfoot would be really cool because we have a new species. It changes a few things. But if we find the proof of extraterrestrials, well, that changes everything.
I'm sure it would. And have you ever encountered anything alien?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I've been doing this since 1994, and I joined MUFON in 1996. But, you know, there was a little break in there in between where I was independent, but culminating, you know, 2 decades and being somebody who really likes to be out there. And, you know, you can't chase these things for very long without running into a few things every now and then. So, yeah, absolutely. I've seen a lot of things I can't explain. I've only seen a couple of events that, you know, I'm absolutely convinced that it's not ours, and whatever was going on there is extraterrestrial.
Would you care to share with us what you've seen?
You know, we've seen strange lights in the sky. There was an incident in Tennessee where myself, another investigator, an extremely credible witness, and his cousins, you know, all watched a triangle fly directly over our heads. There was a being involved that evening. I've seen, you know, shadow people, the entity sort of in back of me in a mirror. You know, I could go on and on, but
okay.
A lot, mostly it's, you know, the lights in the sky, you know, things that are almost just glimpses, you know, which leads into theory of dimensions versus the nuts and bolts theory. But yeah, seen a lot of things.
You've seen shadow people?
Yeah, and, you know, out of everything I've ever seen, that is probably the biggest question I have, because whether you're in the paranormal field or the UFO field, we don't know what the shadow people are. We don't know which field they almost fit best in, because we find them in both UFO accounts and we find them in paranormal reports.
Could it be the interdimensional beings?
I think so. You know that we always love our titled witnesses, meaning we love our pilots, we love the astronauts that have very openly come out and talked about things that they've witnessed in space. They were there, boots on the ground on the moon. You know, so when these guys talk, I listen. But we also have, very, very educated and accredited people that have been deeply embedded in UFO research for decades. And when I say decades, 30, 40 years. And they're all kind of coming to the same conclusion towards the end of this. Jacques Vallée, David Jacobs, just to name a couple. But, we can't celebrate credentials and then when we don't like where they're going with it or the proofs and theories and hypotheses, very strong ones that they've concluded with, just decide, I don't buy it. So it's an interesting pursuit that we have going on.
All right, so you're Mufon, right? You're still with Mufon?
Yes.
And you were on the STAR team. Now, what is the difference between a STAR team and a regular team?
Well, right now in Mufon, there are 3 layers for investigators. You enter as a field investigator, and that's where you kind of hone in all your skills and get busy and really, work hard, investigate UFOs. And then once you acquire more advanced type skill sets that are needed out in the field for investigating, such as evidence collection and, complex cases where you're dealing with multiple witnesses. And when I say multiple, like 20 and 30. That's a higher level of investigating protocol. And so that's what they call the STAR team. So you can work your way up to the STAR team. Now I've added, not me personally, but Jan Harzan and Steve Hudgens, who are the executive director of Mufon and the deputy and the director of investigations and executive director, basically 1 and 2 in Mufon, knew they needed a team a little above that, and mostly because there are certain cases that are reported to MUFON that just don't fit into that CMS reporting, and that's our case management that is found on the internet. So when you go to MUFON.com and you fill in a report, sometimes we have whistleblowers, high security individuals, high military ranking, and they need to come in through a back door, and that's the team I run, and that's called the Special Assignment Team, and we call it SAT for short. So there's 3 levels of investigation that you can advance to, but being a MUFON, it's pretty cool. It's guaranteed you're going to get some cases if you really like to work, and you have training, and you have a whole network of people to help you. You just can't fail a MUFON. If you've never done an abduction case before, you can call Kathleen Martin, who heads the abduction research team. If you don't know how to collect evidence, you usually call, the ERT or, your state director or your STAR team personnel. So, you just can't fail. There's an international team and what we like to refer to as a global effort to just get to the bottom of this.
Okay. I don't know if you're aware, but I contacted MUFON last July because I saw something.
I did. I read your report. I absolutely did.
Okay, and the guy said he would get back to me, but he never did. I guess he didn't find out. I mean, what I saw is probably nothing compared to what other people see. That's the way I see it.
There's a lot of cases where when the investigators first, get onto the cases and you're assigned, there's a lot. Either you have a lot of research that needs to be vetted in, or there's just not much you can do. I mean, let's face it, what are you going to do with the light in the sky? Even if we know for a fact that it's not a plane, it's not a satellite, it's not the International Space Station,
right.
When we get rid of the usual suspects, we still can't say, oh, that's a mothership from Reticuli or the planet Sirius. There's no comparison. Lights in the sky are difficult. In fact, most investigators, you do a MUFON because, that's what we do when we promise the public. If you report, we'll look into it. But most researchers out here, we're not really doing lights in the sky because what are you going to do with it? It's either a known or an unknown. But we can never say it is a UFO, ever.
And the UFO guy, it's a MUFON in Canada, and the guy, he's the only guy in our province that does this.
I actually know Mark. It's Mark Germain. I met him, and in fact, we're working a case together in Canada, so to speak. He and The Mufon Canada is working a really great case, and they've asked the SAT team, which I run, and it's a team of specialists. What separates the SAT team from the rest of how Mufon investigates UFOs is we're a task force. Kind of when the police department, you get a really big case that is going to be highly public, very complicated and serious, like a serial killer. The police don't usually run it. They start calling in the specialists, and they start calling in a task force, and that's exactly what the SAT team does. And we're able to help Mark with something up there. So he's really a great investigator. I would go ahead and contact him again and see what he says. But I'm pretty confident, because I know him, that he didn't just dump you. He didn't just drop you.
We were together for like maybe 45 minutes.
Okay.
I met him face to face. I met him somewhere face to face, and we discussed this. And he took me serious, because the thing is, when I saw the thing in the sky, I didn't think too much of it. I go, okay, it's a UFO. And then I started watching the History Channel, Mufon, Hangar 1, I think it's called.
Yes.
And then this was this summer, and I go, maybe I should contact these people. And I did contact them. And Hangar 1, were you ever on that show?
No, I actually, believe it or not, when I was called for it, I turned them down season 1 and season 2. I'm just not interested in the TV. Really not. But, I guess there's some unfortunate aspects to that, but I just like working cases. Not really into the, whole other end of the publicity of it, although it's important, because Hangar 1 opened the topic to a whole new generation of people that are watching the History Channel. And we see that with the amount of sightings we're getting, and it does, it inspires people to report, which is what we need you to do. Even if we can't do much about your case, we have a lot of people reporting things that they've never talked about before that happened 20 years ago, 50 years ago. And that's okay, because every little bit helps.
Oh, for sure, it does. Last week, we had somebody that you probably know as a guest, L.A. Marzulli.
Oh, I love L.A. Yes, I worked with L.A. in South America.
Did you? I mean, he's been on our show 2-3 times. Very generous man. He's wonderful. He's one of the most popular guests we have on our show.
He always is, and his partner in the series Watchers, and if you watch Watchers, I am in Watchers 8. And
I think I had that DVD.
Yes, I'm in that one, and that's when I worked with an expedition team that was head up by L.A. and Richard Shaw, who you should have on as a guest, because he's also done the Torah codes, but he's kind of the behind-the-scenes guy behind L.A. They're very close in their partnership.
Richard Shaw. Would he come on our show, you think?
Oh, absolutely. He's just as wonderful as L.A., but I like L.A. a lot, and kind of ignored his theories for a while until, you just get to the point where you can't anymore. And once again, because I didn't like where he was going with the theory of what UFOs are and their occupants, I kind of ignored him.
Who LA?
Just can't. Yeah, because you can't do it. Realizing I come from Mufon and a very scientific, I'm like tenacious protocol when I'm investigating, everything has to be perfect, evidence has to be collected, absolutely according 100% to proper procedure. And, here's LA out here that's talking about, this is most likely cosmic. This is a deception. This is more of, that supernatural realm of, good versus evil, God and the devil, and, that the aliens have been, used as the deception to come back when the Antichrist comes. And, his theories, I always kind of considered out there. And until I realized and studied him, I gave him 1 year. I studied, what LA and several others, there's Tom Horn, and, there's a bunch of other people with this theory, including Jacques Vallée and some of our greats. And, it blew me away. There is just as much evidence to what LA is talking about, as they have found in 60 years of nuts and bolts research. It's really good stuff. Because, Robert, honestly, as a ufologist, and I certainly don't speak for everybody, but I'm sure most would agree with the next statement, and that is, we believe as ufologists, we answered that question. Do we have proof that UFOs exist? Yeah, we do. Are they real? Yes, we proved that, asked and answered. Are they visiting and interacting with humanity? Abso-friggin-lutely. Asked and answered. We now, going forward, aren't really looking at those questions anymore. What we want to know is exactly who are they and what do they want? What is the agenda of the human in, a universal, contacting committee, a galactic federation, or what is their interest? Is it our planet? Is it us? So these are the questions we're going forward with. We're not really trying to prove UFOs exist. Even science is catching up with us with that one, aren't they?
Exactly. But I'm leaning more towards that it's a breeding program.
Yeah, there's a lot of evidence pointing to that, and very little anywhere else, to tell you the truth. Like, they're not constantly taking our water or our rare earth minerals. The universe is pretty much made up of the same types of material, but it most definitely seems like, not only, a hybrid or a reproduction program, but a hybrid program. But, and there's also a very deceptive element to all of that.
Do you think that these aliens live among us right now?
David Jacobs just came out with an amazing book. Again, I kind of scratched my head a couple times reading it, but, the man's been doing this for 30 years. I don't know anyone else that has spoken to thousands, literally documented thousands of alleged alien abductions. And, I have to wonder, if I had put 30 years into just one element of the UFO phenomena, what my conclusions would be at the end of that 30 years. However, I do believe that it's not only possible, but likely.
Have you heard of the black-eyed kids?
Yes.
What's your take on this?
Again, we now that David Jacobs has come out with this theory that a lot of our abductees are integrating extremely human-looking hybrids, to kind of blend in and filter in. It would make sense that these black-eyed children who are very awkward and kind of don't know what's going on, would just the good aliens, so to speak, be the only ones interested in reproduction or this type of, a futuristic protocol or type, or, because even the legend of why we were started, with the Anunnaki was as slaves. Humans.
We were slave race, according to that.
Yes, absolutely. We were developed or designed and created to do their work for them. And, hence the God kind of complex with the Anunnaki. And so it's very interesting, when you're digging deep. I have to be careful about rabbit holes because, things will catch me every once in a while. And, you have to study everything. But I really like to stick with the theories and the hypotheses out here that actually have bite, meaning it has some sort of evidence behind it, physical evidence, and what I call a vettable resume. Like LA's theory, you can go back not only through our own Bible, that we could buy off the shelf today, and look in Genesis 6 and see what he's saying, and to understand that there is a thread of humans being changed and fixed, and a deluge and a flood. So you've got evidence of a flood all over the earth. You've got evidence that we came back different, and there's written text about it. Why I like these types of theories, and I really try to stay more focused in those arenas than, how many different alien species we have on Earth. We're never going to be able to know that until they make themselves known.
Speaking of which, so you're basically a UFO hunter, right?
Yeah. I like the word investigator.
Investigator. So as a
Yeah.
okay, perfect. As a UFO investigator, have you ever been approached by the Men in Black?
I have not been approached by the Men in Black. However, I have felt like I had been followed. I was in Kentucky on a mountaintop with a witness and another investigator. This is when we were asked to go down into the coal mines, and this is near Harlan County. And there's a little town next to it that's actually built in an meteor strike. And there's like this big bowl-like topography, and they literally built a town in there, and it's really known for the coal. And we got a call from one of the guys who owns a coal mine out there saying that, you know, his miners were afraid to go down to a certain area because they kept reporting lizard men. And of course, we would associate lizard men with reptilians,
yes,
and or the Dracos. And so I was up there, and anyway, while I'm actually getting ready, coming out of the coal mines, we were kind of coming down these really windy hills and completely followed by these helicopters, which I thought was really strange. And at first I thought was coincidence. But I got photos of them and everything. It was more interesting. I felt like it was more cool than I was threatened. But
so you've seen them. You have pictures of the Men in Black.
I don't have pictures of the Men in Black. I have pictures of helicopters following us.
Okay.
And, you know, these coal mine roads are so, you know, winding and twisting. They'll actually, as you're going down the mountain, they'll hairpin and go under tunnels. And it was just so strange. You know, I kept thinking these helicopters, there was more than one, they were going to turn off and go finish whatever, you know, direction they were going in. And yet they stayed with me down that entire mountain. So I knew it was me. You know, and I'm just bringing out my camera, snapping pictures of them. I did kind of fully expect, you know, maybe a roadblock up ahead because, you know, I pissed somebody off, but it never happened. But that's as close as I've ever really gotten to that. We've had a couple cases that have been compromised, you know, that we know that they were cover-up type antics, you know, before and after we were at a scene. So, you know, these things definitely happen.
What do you think that they are? Government agents, interdimensional beings, aliens, or something else?
I'm not sure about the Men in Black. I honestly think that we do have watchers. That just makes sense. If we have extraterrestrials, you know, that do everything undercover, obviously we're going to have watchers. There's going to be people that are kind of keeping an eye on humanity. I believe there's technology they're sending, you know, such as orange orbs, you know, they're satellites, much like we have spy satellites in space. I'm pretty sure they would as well. And, you know, I definitely believe that that's possible, that we're getting some of this time travel, you know, dimensional type visitation. But for the most part, I think it's our government. The government uses the UFO community and has forever, since the 60s. And we have more documentation. And they even come out and brag about it after, you know, as in the case of, you know, Doty, you know, who literally, you know, has come out and said, yeah, you know, I work for the Air Force and, you know, put out disinformation all the time. And they use the UFO community to hide their top secret technologies.
Speaking of which, what can you tell us about the Dulce Base? Probably the most secretive place next to Area 51.
You know, Dulce is one of those bases where when you first get into UFOs, you know, you kind of like reading, you know, about the accounts that other people have had, the encounters, the contact, you know, and even the abductions. And then when you start getting into our governments actually knowing about this, and of course it goes back into, you know, the Eisenhower, you know, like way back in the 50s, you know, where allegedly, you know, our POTUS, our president of the United States, actually signed agreements with, you know, an alien race, you know, that they could come here and do certain things, but in return, yada, yada. So it's, you know, this kind of thing. That one we haven't gotten strict documentation on, but there is no other example other than Dulce that will give you exactly what we deal with as ufologists. And, a lot of that is, it's a secret alien underground facility, allegedly, and it's huge. It's not just like one little area base. This base is actually, borders an entire town, but it borders Durango, Colorado. There's Taos, New Mexico. There's a fleet, and it connects to Los Alamos. So if you realize the massive construction of Dulce, and it's underground, so meaning secret and hidden away. What we've been able to find basically is that it was started back in the 30s, and Dulce was actually constructed by a Rand corporation later on through the mid 60s, and of course, there's always the story that the reptilians are the ones responsible for the caverns and tunnels. And of course, I'm talking the reptilians being the Draco type. So there's two ways we refer to them. But we do know that the Dulce base was originally built for use for atomic testing. And it was their way of figuring out the best construction for underground shelters. And Dulce was used for that. They bomb it, what happened? And then, of course, later on, they finished a lot more construction on it. And, there's been all sorts of claims coming out of it. I think one of the first UFO people that really started calling out Dulce was probably Paul Benowitz. And, of course, the poor guy went crazy. And this was, again, the Air Force using this man, giving him so much disinformation, it drove him nuts. He actually lost his mind and went crazy. And then, of course, we know another whistleblower from Dulce that, after he was talking and he had threatened the government that if any more harm would come to, people that he knew, he would call them out, and he would, give out more information than what he was talking about. And of course, they found him dead. And I'm talking about Schneider. So,
Schneider.
Yeah, it's not a field to kind of play around in. Yeah, I think sometimes the TV shows make it look like it's real fun and Fox and Mulder, but it can be very dangerous. It can be very dangerous to get out here. You have an alleged UFO crash or an alleged landing. We know better than to run right up on these now because of Cash Landrum case. There are dangerous effects and radiation that some crafts emit. We've had witnesses and investigators become deathly ill and even die over effects of allegedly being around craft like this. We have witnesses that even Rendlesham, that they have health problems to this day associated with the high doses of radiation. That's confirmed all through documentation. That they're dealing now with bad health effects. So it's dangerous. And now we're trying to out a government secret, and we know darn right people have been killed, right? Beginning with like Forrester and FJ12. So these are kind of the conspiratorial rabbit holes that it's very intriguing, but it's not for the faint of heart to be out here and pushing an envelope. It really, really isn't, Robert.
Speaking of things that are dangerous, what about Nightmare Hall? You must have heard of Nightmare Hall.
Yeah, that's level 7,
yes.
Allegedly in Dulce, and that's where probably the most bizarre, or almost the mistakes, or creatures, whether they're hybrid, gene manipulation, clones, but these are kind of the monsters, or the ones that didn't make it right, or the ones that didn't come out perfect. That's allegedly where they're kept, is down at level 1. Some of them are, captured from being here, alleged UFO crashes, that these are the occupants. There's all sorts of, human eating species down there. Of course, that whole area at Dulce alleges, some of the highest numbers of missing people in the country. So it's the strangest stories coming out of there. It's bizarre. It's nightmarish, actually.
Is there any way to get to Dulce Base? We can never. I mean, I've seen pictures on the internet of pictures of Dulce Base, even level 7 and all of that. Are these real?
Well, you see, this is the paradox being a UFO investigator. The government denies that it's real, and yet we have evidence that there is a base. We know, even through the atomic testing out of Alamos and White Sands, we know it exists. So they can't deny it. But, they denied Area 51 until just recently. So it's just interesting that you can actually drive to these facilities. Now it's underground. They're top secret. We're not going to get close to it. You need a whistleblower. You need somebody who works on the inside to come out and be brave enough to tell the world what's going on, or to tell somebody and to even keep it confidential, which is, something else the SAT team and Mufon does. We won't talk about a case if the witness feels that they can't go public yet. So it's just really interesting, that how far do you push? Are we going to sneak into the base? No. Do we put our, other humans at risk, dads and moms, by asking them to come forward and telling our story, and then, putting them on YouTube? It's very, very difficult dealing with government secrets. Then we also have to be careful, Robert, because we know for a fact, in fact, I'd like to recommend to all your listeners a documentary called Barrage Men. And it's on Netflix. It's on Amazon, but I think if you have Netflix, you can get it free. But it clearly talks about how the government, from their own agents, including Jody, how the government and the military will use the UFO community with disinformation. So say all of a sudden I get a call and, we've got a whistleblower out of Dulce and they want to give me documentation and photos and video of everything going on in Nightmare Hall. We can never trust at first that this is a disinformation, because we've gotten this before. Someone as prominent as Linda Moulton Howell was pulled into a military base. Everything was just set up just perfectly. And thank goodness, because of her, we know how this works now. But, they're telling her, they're giving her all this secret, and she can't write anything, and she can just look. And she believed it for a while. But then the girl did her homework, which is a good investigator. And then when she found out that they were lying to her and using her for disinformation, she called them out. In fact, Dodie is on that documentary saying she did the one thing no one else had the nerve to do. She called me out by name. He's done. He can no longer be this disinformation guy. She was brilliant at doing this, very tenacious. And, so that's the dilemma. So are we really going to know if it's truthful what's going on there? The best we can do, Robert, is vet our witnesses. And if our witnesses, come out to be completely truthful, then they become alleged claims, and probably true. Can we prove they're true? Not yet. It's the same with Area 51. Even Lazar, who was there and called out and was one of the best whistleblowers we have, look at what happened to him.
Mm-hmm.
Half the people in the UFO community, he's a liar, he wasn't there, that's ridiculous. And, what our witnesses have to go through, sometimes it's just not worth it.
That's true. Exactly. Just like I have all these questions, and I'm just like, I just like bing, bing, bing. I just want to ask them, and then when I come to ask them, I kind of forget.
Hey, do it, mister.
Yeah. All right. Good. Yeah. That's it. How much power does Mufon have? Can Mufon just go to Dulce Base and say, okay, that's it. We're coming in. We want to know the truth, or?
No, I don't think anybody has that power, including the President of the United States. He can't just go to Area 51. In fact, remember, a threat was put out that, oh my gosh, I just lost the name of the president. A president of the United States. I just went blank. But, he called out and said, hey guys, I'm going to send the army in to take over the entire base if you don't start letting me know what's going on.
Really?
Oh yeah, presidents are temporary employees. That's why I don't really believe, is Obama been read into, the alien agenda or what we know since the 40s about UFOs? Heck no. They're only going to be here for a little bit. They don't have a need to know. If a craft showed up, they probably might mention it then. But they really don't have a need to know. They're temporary, and these guys like to write books. They like to write things later. And I do believe there have been incidences in our modern presidents, such as Reagan, that certain information would have crossed their desk, absolutely. But, even a president couldn't walk up to these bases and just, I'm coming in and you're going to demand. Does MUFON have that power? No, I don't think any organization does. But what MUFON has are thousands and thousands of investigators and members, and we all come from different walks of life. We have, people that can walk up on a base. I have a military dependent ID. Can I walk up to Dulce? Nope. I couldn't get into friggin' White Sands when I was down there. But, I have an ID that, I can drive on pretty much any other base in the world if it's American. But top secret bases mean top secret.
I mean, I think it's above top secret, like above the president, like by many layers, from what I understand, Dulce Base.
Yeah, there's a lot of information. If the president doesn't need to know, and just think about all the stuff he has to listen to, being, a world leader as well as the United States. How many meetings can he sit through a day and know of everything? It's why, certain people have been left in charge to take care of things. It shouldn't be that way. But I think that's why the UFO secret keepers have gotten so far out of reach of government. They started out in the government and military, but the people who are keeping the secrets, they're not the guys driving on the base every day going to work. They're certainly not the guys, interning at the White House. These are guys that have gone very, very dark.
Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that there's been rumors that the government's been infiltrated by aliens, maybe Obama himself. What are your thoughts on this?
I think if we were going to have aliens or hybrids, walking among us today, I can't think of a better entertainment than our politics right now. But all joking aside, of course, that would be a very important component to study is the political structure, the ruling classes, like how is their society all put together, who governs law. It would be very important if they are here and looking like us, they absolutely would have to be there. Because Robert, think about if, tomorrow we find another planet with intelligent life on it. Think of all the people that would demand to be on that exploration vessel. We'd have virologists, you'd have to have doctors, you'd have to have botanists, you'd have your secret agents. There would be all sorts of people, and every one of them believed that what they needed to know about this planet was so important. There would be 50 different agendas on that spacecraft going to that new planet.
Right.
I could only assume it's the same thing here. So is there one alien agenda here? We don't believe so anymore. There's a lot of us out there that, we know there's just too much going on. If there are different races, even within one race, there are going to be different reasons why that object and those beings are interacting with those people. It doesn't mean it's all one brushstroke and everybody's encounter is for the same reason.
Because there's different types of alien species: reptilians, alien greys, Dracos, Anunnakis, the Nordics.
Oh, the Nordics. Who doesn't dream of if you're going to be, picked up and contacted by aliens? We all want the Nordics, right?
Right. I don't want the little alien greys, or especially the reptilians. They seem very frightful indeed.
Yeah, and it's funny because I think it's the grays and probably the praying mantis type beings that are almost described as the most diabolical, but I'm not sure it's diabolical other than they're just very analytical. They maybe lack compassion and, you know.
I had heard that the great aliens are robotics, like the clones doing the work of the reptilians.
Yes, that is a theory out there, and I think it's a good one. I think it's a really, really good one. You know, just like we're very close to developing very high thinking artificial intelligence. You know, we didn't make them look like, you know, walking dogs. You know, we made them look like us. And when we look at our own technology, you know, and that's all we have, Robert, is, you know, what we know about how we would do things. It would be really interesting to ask a shark how he would do that, you know, or to ask a fox, right? They might have a different one. It's always that that little story about a fish only knows what's in his pond. He has no idea how we handle things on land. So I think I'm more leaning to they're more robotic and mechanic, absolutely.
Do you think we're getting closer to disclosure?
Oh, I think we're absolutely on the cusp. And honestly, it's going to be, it's not going to be our government coming out and telling us the truth about anything. Why would they? They have absolutely no reason to do it. And most of them don't know any more about it than the average, you know, Joe Plumber, to borrow a phrase from the government. But for me, I think it's our sciences, the quantum physics of tomorrow. I believe there's jump technology, wormhole travel. You know, how do we actually manifest through dimensions? And when you think of all the thousands and thousands of accounts we have from the people that have actually witnessed these events, you know, these beings come through walls, they come through windows, they're raising us up in beams of light. That's technology. That's quantum physics that we're going to be discovering. We're very, very close. You know, you look at what CERN's doing.
Opening up portals, they're doing.
Absolutely. And, you know, you go to Peru and talk to a shaman and see, you know, what they think about dimensions. They're like, well, yeah, we've been doing this for thousands of years. It's just such an interesting way things are going to happen. There's something else to consider, Robert. We always hear that our government isn't going to tell us. What if they're not allowed? What if they're not the ones who get to decide to disclose?
I don't think they are allowed.
I don't think they are either. And that's, I'm glad to hear you say that, because a lot of people want to raise an eyebrow, you know, because everything that the interactions that we know of, they're all done in secret. They control everything they need us to do for them during these encounters. And at any time, they could park, you know, one of their crafts right in Central Park, one in D.C., and make their presence known, but they don't. At any point, they could control the atrocities going on and how humans treat each other. And of course, I'm talking about ISIS or any other, you know, bad guys, you know, or cancer, curing cancer. But they don't. So to me, they're in charge of this whole agenda, and they don't want us to know yet.
The thing is, I've heard that the cancer's already been found, but the governments don't want people to know because it's $1 billion industry.
I'm sorry, the what have already been found?
Cancer, the cure for cancer has been found, and the governments don't want us to know about it because it's $1 billion industry.
Oh, absolutely. And when you think of just free energy alone, you know, we have access to free energy. We even know how to get it. Tesla had it. It's just, it's not marketable. They're worried about their money, their control. They're worried about, you know, world economies. There's a lot of reasons why some of the technology, you know, and I hear people say all the time, well, we're ready for disclosure. I don't know, Robert. I don't know. Maybe I'm jaded, but I look around the world today and I think, wow, all you have to do is look in the Middle East right now and watch these people destroy our Sumerian artifacts.
ISIS.
Or destroy anything that they don't like, or that contradicts anything that they believe. And the atrocities that they're doing, or what we do to each other in the United States every time we walk by someone who's homeless. Tell me an advanced civilization would look at that like, oh yes, we can't wait to have you sitting at our galactic table. Please, people, please, we're not ready. And I think we have a lot of growing up to do, and it's really going to take, toppling down these secret keepers, the elitists, and, the ruling elite. There's a lot of work to be done. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. However, we are on the cusp of finding proof that we're not alone, and that there's other sciences and dimensions. And, people often hear me say, are they really getting here on a full tank of gas and a Red Bull? Or is there something else happening every time we listen to somebody who has seen a Bigfoot that takes 5 steps and then all of a sudden they're gone? Sometimes they see them disappear, and sometimes they're like, they were so fast, and, or an entity come through a wall, or a ghost come up through a floor, or poltergeist activity. Something's going on.
Speaking of, let's say, alien abductions, do you consider the connection between alien abductions and sleep paralysis?
Oh, they're very common factors, but no, I believe that the alien abductions is complete control. The aliens have, the minute they are in contact with you, they calm you down, you can't move. They need you to be very still because they're going to take you somewhere. So, they have absolutely abilities to do this. It's telepathy. Nobody's ever reported, at least to me, the aliens are talking to them through their mouth. No, I don't believe it's sleep paralysis. I believe that sleep paralysis is real, and some people can confuse that with alien abductions, but I don't believe that people that experience these suffer sleep paralysis.
Because sleep paralysis, there's been cases where evil entities come also.
Absolutely. It just doesn't explain everybody's accounts, because they're different. And yeah, I'm not buying it. There's just too many other things going on, like implants. Sleep paralysis doesn't leave an implant. Sleep paralysis doesn't, there's so many different factors that we can go against that.
Do you think these aliens are demonic in nature?
I don't know how to answer that yet. I'm working on it. I'm still on the fence on this one. I believe that there's just all sorts of entities. We have good and we have bad, and that's what we're finding. I have a few friends out in the field that they believe, no, all aliens are good. They're all here for good. We just don't understand it yet, and it's okay that they take you and hurt you. It's like when you take your children to the doctor. It's good for them. It all works out in the end. Not buying that, because we're hearing tens of thousands of other accounts that aren't good and haven't been good for them. So we have to weigh everybody's evidence, and basically until we find that proof that not only meets a burden of proof, we've got hundreds of those exhibits to give the public. We need the smoking gun, and until we have that, we can only rely on what we know so far. And so far, we don't have that definitive answer. We're close. We have theories. We've been studying this for 60 years. You start putting your data together, profiles emerge, statistics start displaying themselves in, a ratio that is far beyond coincidence. So, did I answer your question, or did I go off the deep end?
No, you've answered it, yeah, to a certain extent. Do you think we could contact aliens through telepathy?
Oh, yeah, I think that's exactly.
Have you ever tried to doing that?
No, I don't, and I haven't because I'm more of a scientific investigator. I don't mind doing experimental stuff, but I also question those that go out, even the CE5, and they'll kill me because they tell me something very different, and I get that, but we have other accounts. I'm just not sure if we're conjuring experiences because L.A. Marzulli's right. And not that he's the only one, but I'll use him because your audience is most familiar with him, correct?
Yes. Oh, yes, they are.
Yeah, so, LA will tell you, if you're conjuring them, they're going to deceive you. These evil spirits are going to come and say, yes, we're, from Venus, and, we love you, and, you're so awesome, and we're nothing but love and light. Of course they're going to say that, if it's a deception. I don't understand why I would stand out in my yard and try to call a UFO from space with my telepathy. I'm just not getting that one. And I know people are going to hate me for that one. But I'm just not getting it. There's no evidence to that. However, we do know that if you're conjuring something else spiritual, something supernatural, and not flesh and blood biology, well, then we're playing with fire. That's why I don't do it.
So do you think that there's a difference between evil spirits and aliens?
I do. I do believe that the evil spirits will use the UFO and alien agenda to their benefit. And Robert, I'm really getting to the point of why do we have to have one or the other? Why does it have to be aliens or angels and demons? Is the universe big enough for all of it? Is our existence in these dimensions so complex that we're already picturing, 11 dimensions off our shoulder, but we're only picturing what we know, houses, buildings. What if they're completely different? What if angels and demons live in one realm, and then we have extraterrestrials in another one? Or they're literally in our space, which I believe they have to be. It's ridiculous to think we're out here by ourselves. So I'm really coming to the conclusion, I don't want to be kind of cornered to make a call that it's either one or the other, because I'm kind of thinking it's going to be all of it.
Okay, yeah, very.
I hope that doesn't sound like, kind of that loser, easy answer, but we're finding so many different accounts. Yes, there's a whole population that I would say, absolutely, this is a deception, and run, guys, run. But then there's a whole side that that's flesh and blood, that's nuts and bolts.
But my question is, if they're so good, let's say they're good or whatever, why are they hiding from us? Why is the government hiding it from us? We answered that before because we said like the government's prevented from disclosure, but why are they doing this?
Yeah, I'm not thinking it's in the best light for humanity, and that's where our evidence is going. But again, we have no smoking gun. We have strong working hypothesis. They're even further than theory, Robert. These aren't theories anymore. We have enough what I call admissible or articles of evidence that would meet a burden of proof. Yeah, this isn't good. It's probably not going to be good for humanity. And yet, we don't have that smoking gun to tell us, yep, we're exactly right, this is what they want, or this is our reality. Once again, we're waiting for science, or somehow they let us know. But one way or another, the answer is coming.
What do you think? What do you think of the flat Earth theory?
I'm sorry, the what theory?
Flat Earth. That the Earth is flat. There's like a big society of people believe.
Oh, flat Earth.
Yeah.
I'm going to be very honest with you. I really haven't paid too much attention to it. So any answer I give you would be completely benighted. It is coming up more and more. I do understand that, but it's just like, inner Earth.
The inner Earth theory also.
Yeah, we have a lot of these theories out here. These are the rabbit holes that I talk about. I try to stay out of. Not that I'm not interested, but when you're dealing with, like right now I have 27 cases on my desk. How much time can I distract and spend over here when I should be working on what people need me to do and help them, right? So I really haven't paid too much attention to that. It's intriguing, but again, sometimes I get kind of angry, like, stop, guys, stop with all this new stuff. Like, let us get something done first. But again, I believe we're going to find in the end that that's going to be our reality. Is there's so much more than, in fact, Robert Bigelow, who is well known to be very fascinated in UFOs, tried to buy them. He's hired Mufon. I mean, the guy just loves it. But a big aerospace guy. One of the scariest things I've ever heard was a quote that he made that was caught on, I believe it was Jesse Ventura's show. And he looked straight at, I believe it was Sean, and he said, you guys don't even know what you don't know. Oh my God, what? Like, I'm coming off my couch. What? Is he crazy? What do you mean we don't even know what we don't know? And that's when I realized the secret keepers are so further ahead of us. I mean, even the Vatican and some of our religious, these guys have the largest telescope and the most sophisticated telescope in the whole world, sitting right here in the United States on Mount Graham in Arizona. And the lens that they use, the mirrors, which are the most important part of a telescope, what does the Vatican need to know about space? I mean, really, for this kind of money and technology, what do they know that we don't know? And why did they name it Project Lucifer?
That's what I'm thinking. These aliens have a connection to Satan himself.
Well, again, I think they believe that there's a deception coming, or that, there's these little bits, when the Pope comes out and, he mentions aliens almost like they were real, in a sense. He hasn't come out and said, yes, they're real, everybody. But there's all these little indications that we're slowly getting fed little bits of information so that the population is getting more and more used to people like a Pope or the government's kind of declaring, hey, don't be so surprised if it comes, guys. We've kind of been waiting for it. It's ridiculous. I couldn't believe it. But the Vatican, the Jesuits run the science and technology in the Vatican and have a history since, day one almost. And you hear Tom Horn talk, who does a lot of books about the Vatican and UFOs and outing them.
They're very good books.
Yes, exactly. And they talk all the time that when you talk to these priests that are up there, locked away in these observatories, because there's one in the Vatican and, like I said, one right here in Arizona, they forget that other people don't know what they do. So, they're talking about the aliens and, they're coming here. They don't know why all of a sudden they're sending fleets. And you're looking like, dude, whoa, what? Wait, whoa, wait a minute. Because they forget. They're so used to talking amongst themselves and, kind of in this little bubble up there. They forget that the rest of us don't know what they know. Going back to Bigelow's comment, one of the scariest things I've ever heard. So, I just think that it's an intriguing era, but, the Vatican and religions are watching. And of course, it could be too that, once again, aliens come here, we find out that, we come from Sumerians and it really is the Anunnaki. Well, church kind of lost its power, hasn't it? So there's a lot of reasons they'd be paying attention. What startles me most is the amount of time, money, and effort, the amount of science they train their priests to go, and they're looking. Because they're also responsible for burning alive one of our greatest science minds that first started looking to the stars for answers. It's very interesting to watch all this play out.
Do you think there's a connection between aliens and the Illuminati?
The Illuminati, again, we have to have a controlling elite, or the things that we know are true wouldn't happen. And, the banking, and when you start getting into the whole, that type of conspiracy of, secrets that we've had to keep and truths that we had to hide. Religions believe it's mostly about Jesus Christ, and we had to hide his bloodlines, and we had to hide the Ark of the Covenant because it's probably radiated. It's a dangerous weapon, so there's reasons to believe that people have been keeping secrets, and just how big they are and how much is it keeping them away from humanity because they're dangerous. And again, look at what's going on. Even the United States, we find some new technology, and the first thing we do is build a weapon. We don't save or cure cancer. We build a weapon. It's the first place we go. Radiation will kill a tumor. We built a bomb first. So it's, the theories, Robert, we could just go in every different direction, but, what I do know is that our governments are looking, MIT is looking, CERN is really close. We have all these scientific communities that once tongue-in-cheeked and, kind of laughed at us, now coming out saying, absolutely, extraterrestrials have to exist. There's got to be intelligent life out there someday, or, out there somewhere. And then we have our religious communities embracing the extraterrestrial hypothesis. We have our governments and our astronauts and, our community. It's just really interesting to watch one little block come out like that Jenga game before it all tumbles down.
Do you think that all religions have a UFO belief?
It appears so.
In some kind of form.
I'm not a student of all religion, but I can tell you that, in just some of the pursuits, I very rarely will find one. I haven't found one that doesn't yet. Not saying that I've looked at them all, but,
right.
It's just amazing when you, it almost appears like they all have two things in common. There's a supernatural world that also controls or has some sort of influence with humans here on Earth. And the other thing they have in common is a flood. Very interesting.
All religions seem to have a flood.
Yeah, I'm not saying they all do. They appear to.
Yes, correct. And also the Nephilims. You must have heard about the Nephilims.
Yeah, I love the Nephilim. That's what we were doing down in Peru. Is I took almost 100 DNA samples off of a little infant skull that we unwrapped with LA and Richard and Aaron Judkins and Joe Taylor.
And what are they?
Yeah, the Nephilim is basically a biblical term,
yes.
And it's when the fallen angels were cast down and sent out to heaven. They had thought human women were beautiful, had sex with them, and created a race of giants. And of course, one of the theories of the flood was that the fallen angels did this because they wanted to absolutely ruin the bloodline of Jesus Christ. If God's creation was contaminated and the bloodline of human and our DNA was contaminated, the perfect Christ could not be born. So part of one of the theories of the Nephilim is this is why the fallen angels had worked on this hybrid program. And of course they came out as giants because they weren't real good at it yet. But that was the reason for the flood. I'm not saying that. The theory is saying that's why the flood came, is that God was horrified. Like, what are you doing? This is my creation. You contaminate my creation, so he gets rid of it. I like that explanation a whole lot better than I like God just kind of got pissed off because humans sin and we're, just terrible people sometimes. And yet he loves us so much and we're his creation. He knows we're going to do that. To me, cleansing a contamination from evil makes a whole lot more. I like that explanation better. But of course, then we come back different. And when I say we come different, through intelligent design, because we all know that Darwinism is They don't even talk about it anymore. That's how crumbled it is. But, you think of intelligent design, we hear more and more vetted documents of ancient texts coming back saying that, what was Moses, like 700, 800 years old?
800.
Pharaohs ruled for thousands of years. And after the flood, we came back very short, a much shorter timeline. We know that, the species is a little taller than it used to be. So, we came back different, and that's no mistake.
And so when these Nephilims died, they became evil spirits, which are now known as demons.
Yeah.
Okay, and do you think that could it be possible that the fallen angels are aliens nowadays?
Yeah, that's definitely part of the theory, is that, the fallen angels, and they haven't gone away. I mean, where'd they go? Nobody says that, because
they were locked
didn't
away.
go away.
I think they were locked away for 70 generations, and they've been recently released.
Right, but they didn't go away.
No.
Like, in other words, they weren't destroyed,
No.
and, so there's still an entity to be dealt with. So absolutely, this is something that is part of the theory of the aliens, is that this is still a hybrid reproduction genome project, only this time they got better. This time they're not producing giants, their technology. We have to remember what angels are. In my head, angels are, beautiful little, human-like creatures with these big, glorious wings, and they glow and have this shine. It's not the reality. It's not even what they told us at all.
Right.
They can pass for human. We know that from Sodom and Gomorrah, and we have more than a dozen stories telling us why angels, whom, by the way, walk through walls just like we hear about aliens doing, and have a kinetic power where they can move stuff, because we hear that, was it Peter or Paul that was, an angel came and he was in jail, and they threw open the gates and escorted him right out there while they put the guards to sleep. Come on, that couldn't be more alien, what we're hearing today. So there's a lot of correlations, which is why we believe there's a push. It's either angels and cosmic, or it's aliens and extraterrestrials. I want to say, why does it have to be one or the other? Why can't we have both? So, but yes, it's huge. But if it is the fallen angels, they have continued to contaminate and create an army. If Armageddon's coming, if there is going to be this final conflict of the control of humans, which we know Jesus Christ won, blah, blah, blah. If this is a continued conflict, then of course they're going to have an army. And why not build an army of hybrids and then tell them they're special, and tell them that they're better than normal humans, and they have more special powers, and they have a bigger understanding. A little scary.
Very, very scary. And in closing, before we end the show, you wrote a children's book, Are Aliens Really Real? What is that about?
It's about my 5-year-old grandson that knows what I do. Of course, not a full understanding at 5. But, he had a lot of questions. These kids, aliens are in their culture, they're in their cartoons, their video games, it's all over the place. So they're asking a lot of questions. Of course, in the book, I don't answer that question, because what I really want to promote with our children is, just like I was sparked to ask the tough questions, don't get sucked in just because the establishment or the very smart people tell you something. It's okay if you're not buying it. It's okay if you want to ask a tough question. And, so the whole time the little boy's, asking his grandmother questions, and, she's given him enough answers, but mostly for him to maintain that curiosity for himself. And that's what that book promotes.
That's what that book, okay. And would you care to tell us your website?
Yeah, it's justmyname.com. So it's www.Chase Kloetzke, and the last name's tough, guys. So I'll spell it KLOETZ as in zebra, KE.
.com.
Yep. That's it.
Oh.
I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. You know, find me, guys.
I have you on Facebook, I believe. Yes.
Yeah, and I answer everybody, and I love my Twitter. You know, if you follow me, I follow you right back.
Okay, I don't know if I have you on Twitter. I'm gonna have to check that out, but I know I have you on Facebook. Well, all right. I guess this concludes tonight's show. I want to thank you very much, and I hope you want to come back soon on our show.
Oh my gosh, Robert, absolutely. They were great questions. I loved it, and you got a rockin' show. Who wouldn't want to be here?
All right, so I'll send you a link up once the show's recorded, and it'll be on YouTube. It'll be everywhere.
Awesome.
All right, thank you very much for coming on the show, and we'll talk again very soon.
Okay, thank you so much, Robert.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, that was a good show, wasn't it?
Yeah, a lot of information.
A lot of information that we got out there for you folks out there, and we do hope that you did enjoy the show and that a lot of questions have been answered. Like you said before, man, we had a hell of a show, a lot of questions, a lot of information to get out there, and I think we did a pretty good darn job of that.
Yes, we did. I'm glad we did it. It was a great show as usual. We always do great shows, great guests, and us, and whatever we have to share.
Exactly. So that's it. I guess that's it for this week, and the show's going to be up. So people share this video everywhere and anywhere, and keep up the work, because we have to get everything exposed, don't we?
Yes, we do. But that's it. We're out of here. Got a lot of work to do for this show. Thank you for watching.
Yeah, we'll see you next week. We're gonna have a great guest next week, a returning guest. We don't want to say who, but you're gonna love our guest next week. So
yes.
That's it for this week. Thank you for watching, and God bless you all.
It's a surprise. All right, thank you. We'll see you next week. All right, thank you very much. Have a good one. Good night, people.